All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another week of Unlicensed. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Jill. I'm the host of Unlicensed, and this is the podcast where real women write in anonymously about anything that they're dealing with in their life, any real life struggles, and I bring in my different female guests each week, relationship coaches, therapists, friends, family, and social media influencers to help offer you guys advice on those topics. As you guys know, we have our badass guests joining me, and today we are joined by digital content creator Alicia Coleman, whose content focuses on both fitness and lifestyle. Her mission is to help people take hold of their lives and choose to live active lifestyles within the physical, mental, and spiritual realms. Welcome, Alicia. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I love that intro, girl. I love it.
You know, I got you. We started chatting even before we started filming today, so I was like, damn, we need to save this for the episode because I felt like we were already getting into it.
Yeah.
But as always, with our episodes, we're going to get to know you a little bit more, and then we'll dive into the episode and what the advice is for today.
Okay.
We actually started talking about this outside a few minutes ago, but you did get your brand started in 2020 during COVID. You mentioned that you didn't have access to the gym. You wanted to seek different ways to remain active. So even though I know, because we just started talking about it, let the people know, why you wanted to start your journey during COVID, what made you make that jump, especially because you were working full time at the same time. So let's take us back to 2020 and the start of that.
For sure. Yeah, during 2020, it was such an interesting time, like we were just talking about outside. But I think for me, fitness has always helped me with my mental health, right? And I think that has always been a big aspect for me wanting to stay active. Even prior to 2020, coming out of college, post-grad, depression was a really big thing. And so I think during the time of COVID, when we're all isolated, we're all stuck at home, I'm like, okay, what other ways can I figure out how to remain active outside of the gym? And so that's when I really started to lean into, okay, let me create this page. Let's start tagging people to keep ourselves accountable. People would see me working out and they're like, oh, I need somebody to help me stay in the gym. So I was like, okay, how can we keep the community going in a time where we're all still isolated? And I really leaned into it and it became a thing. And I was like, okay, this is getting some traction. I see I'm motivating people. I'm having a level of impact even when I'm not like around individuals every day. And so that's really where it started. It stemmed from just wanting to create community even when we're isolated. So
It's so important to have that community aspect too. I especially think in the lens of mental health. I've definitely been in the same spot where battling with depression, anxiety, you feel so alone. So I love that you're creating these environments with fitness, which is obviously going to make you feel better, but surrounding yourself with people that might be going through something at the same time as you. I was doing some research on you today, and I know therapy has been a big part of that journey. So talk to us about your interest. You just mentioned depression. So talk to us about your interest in starting therapy. What were maybe some of your fears going into it? And what have you learned about yourself throughout that journey of consistently going to therapy and kind of battling some of those things that you've been dealing with too?
Yeah. It's so interesting. Okay, so we're going to get real.
Okay.
And that's what I like about, this podcast. We can be transparent.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to be honest. I went to therapy because I was going through a breakup at the time. And I feel like that's really always kind of sort of the trigger for a lot of us when we're like, okay, I need somebody to talk to because I know my friends are tired of hearing about this. I don't want to talk to my family about it. I just need somebody new who I can express myself to. And going into therapy, one of my hesitations, it's hard for me to be vulnerable. It really is. And like going through something as serious and as sad as a breakup, it really requires you to really talk through all of the things that you were going through at that moment. And then I see that I'm going through all of my past traumas and my childhood traumas. And so I think that prior to me actually going to therapy for that I think the breakup really was the flame to really getting me to go in to speak to somebody. But I feel like I needed it. It was something that opened my eyes after I went. I was like, okay, this is something that I should have been doing months, years prior to this, because we're going all the way back. And it's stuff that she could have pointed out to me that would have helped me in my relationship.
Yeah.
But I really do think that it changed my perspective about going in and talking to people. And it doesn't mean that you have something wrong with you. It's genuinely helping you figure out how to apply different practices when thinking through like going through struggling times in your life. So it was really great.
That's really
Yeah.
cool to hear. And thank you for opening up about that too.
Yeah.
We say on this podcast all the time, people usually go to therapy for one reason, and then
Yeah.
that's when all the other stuff comes
Yeah.
up for it.
Yeah.
A breakup, I think, especially for a lot of women in their early 20s, that's going to be the thing that's, I'm struggling. I feel like I can't focus on my job from this.
Yeah.
I'm losing relationships maybe from this. I'm pushing people away from going through this. And then when you get to therapy and you navigate, the lens of why that breakup happened, and then you're like, well, so
Oh,
many other things from my
right.
childhood and everything are coming up too.
Yeah.
You mentioned that one of your struggles is, being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Has that something that you've always kind of struggled with, opening up even as a child? What did that maybe look like for you, like
Yeah.
within your family? Because I know for me, I've talked about it, vulnerability up until probably podcasting and starting therapy in 2022 was very hard for me as well.
sure.
I would open up about something, immediately shut down. You're not
Yeah.
hearing from me again.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a family environment where we love each other, but it was easy to shut down and not really talk through those emotions of what was going on.
Yeah.
What for you kind of stemmed from having trouble opening up and being vulnerable in that lens?
Yeah. Great question. So these are all the things that we unpacked when I actually started to go to therapy. I think a major thing is I'm African, I'm Liberian. And if you come from an African background, and this doesn't it's not like this is it's everybody who goes through this. There may be obviously certain situations where people had different experiences, but it's very strict in our household. Like, it is very much so. We talk about school, we talk about everything else. We don't talk about emotions at all, not in my household. And so I think for me, that's what made it really hard. I really started to compare what I was able to produce to how I received some level of love and affection. So I never really got too vulnerable about like how I was feeling about certain things, because it just wasn't a space that was created for that type of conversation. And so, yeah, it was very strict. We talked about sports, we talked about school, we talked about grades, we talked about careers, colleges, but did I ever get the opportunity more times than not to sit down and just say, like, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling anxious about this stuff. Like, no, I had to put on a brave face and kind of like see myself through those situations. And so, yeah, a lot of that came out during my therapy sessions, where it was like, it's hard for me to even be transparent with you about how I'm feeling about this breakup when it came to my therapist. But yeah, that I know that a large part of it, obviously there's other aspects in my life, but a large part of it was deeply rooted in my childhood, and that inability to be able to be transparent during that time.
Yeah, it's like talking about everything else except for how you're actually feeling, which stems down to like
Girl,
how we all are kind of messed up in our adult lives somehow too.
And you know what? And I also want to add, it's also no shade towards my parents, right? And I think that that's what therapy has helped me with, is understanding that they also had their own experience. They were also a product of the environments that they grew up in. And so honestly, now that I've been in the position to go to therapy, it's helped me so much with having that type of relationship with my parents now, where I can help them be a little bit more emotional and a little bit more transparent. And we talk through things, a bit more than they were used to. So I do see it as a blessing in disguise, me being able to go to therapy at the age that I am now, so that I can have that relationship with my parents and help them work through that, So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So those generational issues don't continue.
Exactly.
Because our parents, most of our parents, especially in Black communities, I've talked about this.
Yeah.
They grew up in households where you mentioned the word mental health, and
Girl,
you're being laughed down to the last
I'm
day. It
telling
wasn't
you.
a thing. There's so much like fake news around it in that sense. So it's really cool that you've been able to kind of change that narrative within your own household too. I love hearing that. I want to talk about your journey with self-doubt, because I was reading an article where you mentioned, even beginning your own digital content career, where you were helping people with their fitness and becoming more active in that sense, that you felt almost this sense of imposter syndrome and self-doubt because you hadn't even launched some of your own stuff, but you're helping other people too.
Yeah.
Talk to us about some of that self-doubt, how you've been able to overcome that, and where some of that stems from as well. I know you were talking earlier about how you measured success in your childhood and what that looked like. So I'm not sure if it's just never feeling good enough and having doubt about the things that you're doing. Talk to us about where that stems from, that self-doubt, and how you eventually have overcome that or continue to
To
work through
overcome
that
that part, continue to
as you,
overcome it
yeah,
because I'm not a
through your
professional,
journey. Yeah.
okay? I'm not a professional right there. But no, I think a lot of it definitely stems from the fact of like wanting to be perfect, right? Because I'm seeking validation as a child of, hey, if
Yep.
I can produce this, if I can get an A in this class, I'm gonna get a pat on the back. I'm gonna get the
Mm-hmm.
applause when I come home. I'm gonna get my mom bragging to me about my auntie, to my auntie. So it's like that chase of like, okay, if I produce this, then I get this. So I need to be perfect in it
Mm.
in order for me to see the fruits of my labor. But that's not the reality of life. Like, I think a large part of me kind of getting out of that is when I started to get into the real world. And yeah, it's not like a class you go in and the teacher's teaching you and you get it and it clicks because you're just so smart. It's you have to practice, right? And it's going back to the gym. Of when I was in the gym and I was feeling uncomfortable, I was getting frustrated too, in a sense of like I'm looking around, I'm seeing all these girls and they
Yep.
toned and they looking good, and it's like why can't I be there today? But it
Mm.
takes work. It takes work with whatever it is that you want to do. So you have to be okay and comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And like I said, I'm not perfect at this. So I know when I first started like posting and everybody was like, oh girl, I need somebody to help keep me accountable. And then you start getting people like, oh, I need a coach. And I'm like, I don't know how to coach
Coach, I'm
you.
barely figuring this shit out myself,
Exactly.
right?
It's only my third day out here. I don't know. I don't know. I
Uh-huh.
don't know what to tell you. But it's like people see the potential in you before you see it in yourself. So it's like
Ooh.
just lean into it. You're not supposed to be the coach who has 20 years of experience, but there's a spark there. And if others see it, I mean that might be a purpose that God may want you to lean into. And so I think that that's really what it was. It's like, okay, I'm not comfortable here. It makes me uncomfortable coaching these classes cuz I don't know all the terms and all the muscles and all the skeletons in the body, but how do you get to that if you don't start, right? If you don't start. And so that's really what it was for me is just continuing to remind myself it's just like the gym. You have to build this muscle. You have to grow it. And in order for you to grow up, you have to continue to show up.
Mm.
And yeah, so and that's still something that I'm applying to this day, whether it's within my career, even with coaching. I will be completely transparent. A large part of me is like, oh, I'm still not the best at this. So when people ask me certain questions and I don't have the answers to it, it's like it's okay.
Mm.
Be okay with saying, hey, I don't know, but like let's research together and let me see if I can help you get to an answer.
Yeah.
You know? And so yeah, that's really what it is for me. It's like I had to learn that I'm not gonna be perfect. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody can be. And I love what you said. I think sometimes people just need to know that there's someone in your corner. And obviously,
Yeah.
you're the person that's saying, I don't know how to do this,
Hmm.
but I'm going to go home and research it and come back to you and we can work through it together.
Exactly.
Sometimes people just need to feel less alone in that journey versus having an expert that can tell them every single thing that
Everything.
they need to do. And I think within that, I love what you mentioned about how
Yeah.
people sometimes see the potential in you before you see it in yourself.
Yeah.
It's sometimes when people say, I wish you could see yourself the way that
Where I
I see
see
you. When
you.
your friends are down about themselves or
Yeah.
someone going through a breakup and they're just blaming themselves for it. And you're like, I wish you could just see yourself in the way that I
I
see
see.
you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned God within that journey. And I'm really interested to hear how faith has played a role in
Man.
your journey going for your goal success. I was reading how you mentioned that what's really important to you is to go after things that are destined with God's will. I want to talk
Yeah.
to you how your faith has played a role in everything in your life, but specifically with what you're trying to do in terms of building your own brand and your,
Yes.
digital content career around fitness and lifestyle. Talk to us about how faith has played a role in that.
It's literally the center of my life. It really is. I've always grown up in the church. It's always been a part of my life, but I think like when I started getting into my older years where you really got to depend on it. It's not your mom, your dad. You don't have any type of like cushion.
Yeah.
You need something to lean on, and God has always been that place of peace and comfort for me. Um, it doesn't matter how far away that I probably strayed. And again, I want to be transparent about the fact like I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. There's been many days where it's like I'm trying to figure out how to get things done by myself And always, I feel like God brings me back. Not I feel like I know God always centers me and pushes me back to Him so that I can lean on Him. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just been this ongoing like cycle of, okay, I'm trying to figure it out. I have all this anxiety. I'm going through all of this. And then every single time when it comes to a place of like, I'm at a standstill, I'm at a wall, I think it's a reminder to me to be like, you just got to sit down and you need to relax. You need to talk. You need to center yourself. You need to lay everything that you're trying to do at His feet, right? And so I think that that's really what it's always been for me. God has always been like a center, a place of peace, of like I'm moving so much, but I'm not going anywhere. So what does that mean? Right? Let me
Yeah.
come back to the word. Let me come back to a sense of truth, because I mean, we're all on social media. We're all reading all the articles. There's just so many resources out there that you come by, and you're just digesting all of this information, and it becomes overwhelming. You see people, I see
Yep.
other fitness influencers out there, and I'm like, oh, I want this many followers. I want to
Mm.
do it like them. I want to do it like this. But it's like you're trying so much to mold yourself into what you're seeing on a daily basis. And if you were to just, really center yourself on what God has destined for you, because who's to say you might get those followers.
Yeah.
You
It might take 10 times the time,
hello,
but you might get
you
them.
might get the
Uh-huh.
followers. You might be able to lead that class, but God has a way in which He wants you to do it. And so it's you really having to sit down. It's me really having to sit down and be like, okay, so God, how do you want me to go about this? Because I'm trying to force myself to fit into these other boxes
Yep.
just because that's what I'm seeing. And so, yeah, He's always been like my place of peace, my confidant of like, okay, let me stop trying to force myself into certain rooms, onto certain platforms, and really understand, God, how do you want me to go about it? Because maybe you don't want me to have 100,000 followers. Maybe that's not my calling.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not. But the 50 people that you do have following me, how can I impact them? You know?
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's always, my faith has played a very huge part in helping me go down the direction, the right path, right? Because I feel like I have the dream and the vision, but God is like, this is how you're supposed to approach it. So, yeah, it's definitely, my faith is hand in hand with my ambition. I'm not gonna go anywhere. I could be as ambitious as I want to be over here, but He like, you have to get centered with me so you can go in the right direction. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
I love that. I think
yeah,
it's so important. I do it too all the time. Seeing other podcasters or social media people who's been doing
yeah,
it for less time, or it seems like they're not putting as much work in. And I'll say that in quotations of
yeah,
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
yeah,
And I get so frustrated when I'm like, why are they so far above me? And I'm honestly measuring that success with the numbers, how many
yes,
followers they have. And I have to turn to God too. And for
yeah,
people listening in, if that's like a spiritual person for you, or just however you guys navigate life too, turning to that thing that really helps you stay centered, because that's the thing that's going to keep you the most authentic
yeah,
when you're going on your journey. You want to stay true to yourself with whatever you're
for
doing, because
sure.
you don't want to start doing something like someone else and get the numbers, and then you're sitting with the 100K and you're like, I don't even like the content that I'm doing. I don't even like the way that I got these followers, because I
Yes,
tried it a completely different way. Now you have the
exactly.
followers, but you're completely unhappy with what
Ex-
you're doing, and
yep,
that's when you start to lose motivation. So
yeah,
I think that is so beautiful. I think that is a
love that.
perfect segue into our episode. You're covering so many things that we're going to dive into. I
Okay.
will share with you guys in a second what the episode is today, but first, a word from our sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by Plot Twist. This is the dating app that allows you to team up with a friend, putting connection and safety first. We talk all the time on a license about why so many women get so afraid to go on dating apps. The first is general anxiety, right? I'm about to go on a date, put myself out there. I have no idea what to expect. And the second biggest reason is safety. I'm about to go out with a stranger. I have no idea who this person is. And sometimes you think to yourself as a woman, man, this would be so much easier if I had a best friend to go into the situation with. So this is why Plot Twist is so cool. It allows you to team up with a friend and you're matched up with other pairs, making dating more fun, more social, and ultimately safer, which I think as women is the most important thing that we can go into for dating. It's really cool. It was founded by two female healthcare providers whose mission is to tackle the loneliness epidemic, focusing on social, emotional, and physical well-being. So if you guys want to get back into the dating dating world. Maybe you're not ready yet, but if you are ready, head to the App Store, type in plot twist, or head to my link in bio at Unlicensed Advice on Instagram. Use code Unlicensed, and you guys can get started on your journey today. Back to the episode, guys. I'm so excited for this episode, and I feel like it's an episode I have been avoiding for a while because I personally don't like working out, so this will be a really good thing for me. I just started getting back into it in the last year, so a lot of this will be advice for myself. We are talking about the fitness journey. We are talking about getting back in the gym, prioritizing your health, gym anxiety, just ways that you can start to get active and not feel so much anxiety towards that. And again, starting with where you're at and not feeling like you have to be in a certain part of your life or a certain part of your fitness journey to really dive into it. So this person wrote in and they said, I've always been on the heavier side and have struggled with gym anxiety for as long as I can remember. But this year, I've decided there will be no more excuses. I truly want to get healthier and feel better in my body and mind. That said, I'm still really nervous. As a bigger girl, I worry about, will people be watching or judging me when I'm just trying to better myself? On top of that, I don't even know where to start with workouts. I feel anxious and overwhelmed, like I have beginner syndrome, not knowing what I'm doing and afraid of looking lost. How can I start getting in shape and not let the fear of the gym hold me back from beginning my fitness and weight loss journey? So obviously, y'all, we were with the best person today to help us get through this. I'm so glad you guys got to know Alicia a little bit more, and she's the perfect person to offer some advice. So my first question for you is, obviously, as humans, we know so many benefits to working out. Better sleep, reduced anxiety, helping with different chronic diseases, including some cancers. Why do you feel like, even though we know the benefits of working out, people continue to avoid it and not prioritize their health in terms of being active in that sense?
I think it's because if we being transparent, it's not easy. And I feel like prior to our generation, it was never easy. But now we're in a generation where everybody wants to see results. They don't want to have to put in much effort. They want it tomorrow because we all feel entitled to it. Right. And so I think that that's really one of the main reasons of like, we can have all of this knowledge, knowing how beneficial it is to take care of our temples and still make excuses for why we can't do it. There's been so many conversations that I've had with people where I'm like, okay, you want to get in the gym? You got a gym membership that you're paying for. Like, what is stopping you? And I will hear every excuse in the book. And I'm like, this is crazy. You're not serious. You're not serious. But I do think it is that. It's just the matter of, hey, I really have to sacrifice this. There's no shortcuts around your fitness journey. You've got to take the long way, no elevators. So I really do think that that's what it is. It's not convenient. It's not convenient.
I think that mindset probably is the biggest step. Because it is so easy to use all the excuses. I first want to ask you, what are some excuses that you in the past have used? If there's just a day that you're like, I am not trying to get in the gym whatsoever. And how can people begin to shift their mindset into a more positive one so they can be ready to remain consistent in their workout journey and not use excuses all the time to avoid working out? What are some excuses you use, and how can people begin to shift their mindset within that?
I think the main one is I just don't have time. Like, I have to get to work, and then after work, I just am so exhausted, mentally exhausted, and I just want to come home. It's like time is a very big one. And then I think for me, it was like the realization of time gonna pass regardless. So you really could utilize the time that you do have in a positive manner, or you can keep making the excuses, but that time is going to pass. And so you will see yourself 2-3 years down the road and you're like, oh, like, I wish I would have gotten started. And then now your life is completely changed, right? Now you have other obligations, you have other priorities, and now you're looking back at a time where you did not have all of these priorities and obligations. You're like, oh, I wish that I could have done it. It's like, take advantage of the time that you have. Time is so precious. It's so precious. And so for me, that was the shift of like, it doesn't matter whether you get started today. I mean, like, the time is going to pass. So you can either let the time pass and be productive with it, or you can let it pass you by. But somebody else is out there doing it, and then you're gonna be looking at them like, I wish I could have been me. And it could have. So I think that was one of the main excuses that I even tried to give myself and that I hear from a lot of people nowadays.
Yep.
Yeah.
The time one is definitely, that is the one that I've used in the past. I just don't have
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Well, you had time to take a 2.5
Hello?
hour nap, Jillian. So what was going on with that?
Yeah.
That reminded me
Yeah.
of something I saw on your site. You said that two things were very important to you in reaching your goals, and that was curiosity and commitment to remain active. Talk to us about how those two concepts are very important for people to remain consistent within
Yeah.
when beginning their own fitness journey, and what that looked like for you too.
Yeah. I mean, for me, especially because I started off in Planet Fitness, I had no idea what I was doing. But again, it's a blessing and a curse. We have so much information that is out there for us to do our own research. Where should I start? Like, okay, if I want to, for me, my biggest my fitness goals at the time was to gain weight. So it's like, okay, how do I go about doing this? If I start with 15 pounds this week, how do I move into increasing the weight? I did my research, and there was just, that was where the curiosity came in of just like, okay, how do I start this journey? Where do I start? What is weight training? Like, what is strength training? I had no idea what that was. And then it was just a matter of, let's, to your point, the consistency of like, okay, if I pair this with something else, like, okay, if I go to the gym, I'm not saying y'all need to do this. At the time, I was like 20 something. I was like, if I go to the gym, I can have my juicy crab today. You know what I mean? So that helped me with my consistency because it's like now I'm rewarding myself with something that I actually do like, with something that it's like I'm just trying to build up this habit. So yeah, doing my research, trying to understand what it is they're talking about when they're talking about different muscle groups. I'm like, I know I wanted to have bigger legs. So like, what type of movements help me with that? What does this movement target? I think that it's just, information is always out there. So when people saying I don't know where to start, it's like just start with the questions that you have. Now we got Chat GBT, y'all. We have Chat
There are
GBT.
no excuses.
There's no excuse for us. Technology is just so amazing in a sense that you can leverage it to benefit you so much. And so I think it's just like you said, if you have a question, you have access to people, you follow people, like, feel free to reach out, find a community, do whatever you need to do to at least get an understanding. Not saying you got to start, but get an understanding, get a grounding. And then whatever it is, if it's treating yourself to juicy crab to go to the gym, just help yourself build that muscle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like too that you mentioned the positive reinforcements, because I'm someone too, I'm like, okay, if I go to the gym 3 times this week, I'm going to treat myself to Uber Eats.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of that, do you ever use negative reinforcement styles to help you get in the gym? So maybe that's saying to yourself, if I don't go to the gym 3 or 4 times this week, then I absolutely am not getting my favorite food or whatever that looks like
exactly.
too. So you use that system to help you stay consistent, really.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. That it's interchangeable. Like,
Yes.
if I don't do this, then what am I celebrating for?
It's so true.
You know, realistic, it's like, what are we celebrating for? I didn't show up for myself in the way that I should. So why am I showing up for myself in this way?
Yeah.
Right? And so it's the mindset, it's the discipline to be able to hold yourself accountable in that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that accountability part.
Yeah.
Like, you're the only person that can really do that for yourself. So I think
Yes.
that's important going into. You also mentioned too that, you know, your motto on your site for your brand is for anyone, anytime, anywhere in their journey. I love that, because I think there's a lot of pressure nowadays that you only can really begin working out if you're honestly extremely overweight or really fit. There's kind of this weird expectation, I guess, that in our society that you can't be anywhere in your fitness journey. Just to begin, you really need to be on the spectrum of, man, you need to lose weight immediately, this is getting unhealthy, or you're in the best shape ever, you need to continue and keep it going. Talk to us a little bit about the societal pressures around why people feel like you need to start in those extremes, and why your brand motto kind of combats that narrative that people have about that.
Yeah, I think that that's just how the world is. I mean, like, I really do think it's really black and white for a lot of people when it comes to a lot of things. Faith, fitness, everybody's like, I can't come to church right now. I'm like, I'm just so broken. It's like, no, you don't go to the doctor when you're like on your deathbed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be getting your annual checkups. Like, you need to be active. You need to be proactive about the things that you want to get better in. And so with your fitness journey, yeah, I think that's just how society is. It's like, oh, I'm fine right now. I don't look out of shape. Or it's like I'm satisfied with how I look on the outside. And I think to your point, it's very external in how we view like those two extremes. Um, Fitness is an investment. It's
Mm.
not about how you look at this very moment. It's like, how do you want to feel 10, 15 years down the road? Like, it is something that should be a part of our life. It's not a luxury. I know there was like a lot of controversy with a trainer or instructor over the past week of like trying to compare Pilates to like
I saw
Bottega.
that.
Yeah.
Raven Vlog.
Yes, yes. Like, it's not a luxury. It's a necessity. You need to have this in your life. I don't care if you feel like, oh, I don't look this type of way. It's like, no, like, it needs to be a part of your everyday life because it comes in handy. Like I said, 10, 15 years down the road when we're all getting, oh, we don't even know if we're going to have health care in the next 5 years. The way that this administration is moving,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be proactive in how you just are like taking care of yourself. So yeah, I think that that's kind of why those extremes come into place because we're always like looking at it from an external view, and it's like, well, I feel good right now. I don't need to do this right now. It's like think long
Mm.
term, think investing in yourself. That's how I would look at my fitness journey.
And I love that you brought up that external aspect because I wanted to focus in on
Yeah,
extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation. So
yeah,
intrinsic might be like, this is for me. It's coming
exactly.
from it within. It's my own personal drive to do it. And then extrinsic is coming from external people. So maybe that is, for example, I want praise when I start working out and people are
Right.
commenting on my body and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
Talk to
Let's
us
talk about
about
it.
long term,
Yeah.
and I already feel like I know the answer to this, but people listening in today that might be getting started on their journey and
Yeah.
are only doing it for others, talk to us long term about what's going to help people stay the most consistent in their own journey, that intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation factor.
Yeah. Well, and I'm so happy that you're bringing this up because even when talking to clients, it's like I really lean into why is it that you want to do this personally, right? The extrinsic motivators, they're great. They're great. They're good for validation. But this is the thing, like, once all of that fades, because it does, you go through seasons where people love you, where people don't love you, where people are clapping for you, where people have their own things going on, right? Everybody is in their own bubble.
Yep.
And so, really depending on other people to validate you can be dangerous because it gets to a point within your fitness journey where you're like, okay, well, if I'm not getting the praises or if I'm not getting the likes or if I'm not getting the comments, now what? Now what are you gonna do? So
Hmm.
you really have to have an understanding of who you are. Okay, getting centered again, going back to what we were mentioning earlier in our conversations, sitting down with God, who am I? What is it that I need to be going after, God? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, why should I be doing this? Why is this important to me? Like, really getting to the center of your why will
Hmm.
help take you a lot further than anything else,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I can't stress this enough. People change. They come and they go. Your seasons will change. Like, you really need to know why you're going after the goals that you may have, whether it's fitness, whether it's career wise. You have to understand, you have to have a grounding in what is pushing you. And I think being able to do that exercise, sitting down and really just writing notes on like, okay, what do I like? Date yourself a little bit. It will help you in all of these different areas of your life. But yeah, it definitely takes you a lot further because can't nobody shake you if you know you. Nobody can throw you off your path if you know you. You will have people that come in that want to tell you. I had people telling me like, you don't need to work out. Like, you're already skinny. Like, why do you need to work out? Or people telling me, oh girl, when you get to this age, all that working out that you're doing, it's going to, fade away. You're not gonna want to
Mm.
do it anymore. But it's like I know me. I know why
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I know why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it because I want to keep a cute little figure, even though it's a
She
little.
said that's a side plus,
It's a
though.
little, it's a little cherry on top, but it's not the sole reason. I made a video about this the other day. I'm like, I want to be able to for my joints to move. I want to be able to move around. I've seen so many family members, um, during their last moments, during their last months, years, where they're like bedridden. And to me, I'm like, and I'm not trying to say that it's something that it can be triggered even if you are in the gym. Like, it's not to say that you're never going to be in those situations, but if I have the ability to prevent that, right, I'm going to use that. And so for me, that is what motivates me. I want to be able to move my body when I'm older. I want to be able to like jump up and not have to like climb out of my chair
Yep.
or like ask for assistance. And so those have always been my motivators, my why of like taking care of my temple, because I have the ability to. I've been blessed to do that today. So yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I think that intrinsic motivation helps you stay grounded, like you said,
Yeah.
and allows you to stay within reality of your expectations of working out.
Yeah.
Within that, I want to talk about unrealistic expectations,
Yeah.
right? Because people start their
Girl.
workout journey. And I'm one of them. I do
Yeah.
squats for a day. I'm like, okay, so
Where is it at?
where is the ass
Where
going?
is the glutes?
Hello? Let's talk about the dangers of
Yeah.
people having such unrealistic expectations from themselves
Yeah.
while starting to work out. And then on the opposite spectrum, I want to talk about patience and how important it is for people to
Yeah.
understand where they're at in their journey, and that the changes that they're going to see in their bodies take time. What does patience look like for you in your journey? And then let's also dive into how unrealistic expectations can be really dangerous for people when they begin working out too.
Yeah. I mean, patience for me is just taking it one day at a time. You really do have to take it one day at a time. I have times where I will be like, right now, I want to start toning up. And so I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, I got to give myself grace. I have to give myself grace. Um, it's a journey.
Yes.
Like, it's a journey. Again, you cannot cheat the process. You cannot cheat your fitness journey. And that is one thing. I saw a video the other day where they were like, everybody will lie to you. Your physique will not lie to you, right? It will not lie to you.
That's true.
And so you have to take your time with it. There's no shortcuts. You literally just have to take it day by day, workout by workout, meal by meal. And it just creates a level of discipline. It changes how your mentality with a lot of other things in life. Like, it is just one step in front of the other when it comes to your fitness journey and the expectations that you have. And it allows you to appreciate it a lot more, right? Like, I feel for us, we're like a microwave generation where we're just like, I want this right now. I can order it on Amazon. I want DoorDash.
Instant gratification.
Instant.
Yep.
But it's like, this is one thing that it teaches you about life. Life does not just gift you what you want immediately. The good things in life take time.
Yeah.
It really does take time and effort.
Yeah.
And so it's just really honing in on it. It's like, I've done this before. I've gone to where I wanted to be. And at the time that I got what I was working for, it was the perfect timing. It was perfect alignment. So I just have to remind myself about that. I think that the dangers of having this expectation of like, I want it right now, people start doing all these crazy fads. We got all of these crazy like medicines, and no shade to Ozempic, but like the long-term effects that will come from that, I just don't think it's worth it. I'd rather take, again, the stairs to get to wherever I'm trying to get to, because it teaches me something here.
Yes.
It teaches me something here that I would not get from trying to go in and do like these crazy fad diets and get this crazy medicine just to get quick results. You can see the difference with somebody who's like just trying to get it because they have an aesthetic that they're trying to get to, versus somebody who's like, okay, I see how this is changing my life. It changes how you approach certain things. It changes how you approach relationships. So I think the danger in it is just like, you cannot cheat. You cannot cheat the system, and it becomes a danger to your health long term,
Mm-hmm.
trying to go the short route, the shortcut route. But yeah, I think it's just leaning into taking the long road. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, staying consistent. And
Yeah.
I've talked on this podcast before about finding what consistent means for you.
Yeah.
Someone starting out that's working a remote job, no kids,
Yeah.
they have a lot of free time. They can go to the gym maybe 6, 7 days a week
Yeah.
versus someone else who doesn't have as much time, but still wants to continue to work out. Maybe starting at 3 to 4 days is going to be better for them too.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, because you brought up, some of these crash diets, Ozempic, some other things.
Yeah.
When can working out or fitness start to look unhealthy? What are some maybe warning signs of in yourself or a friend that you're like, okay, maybe you're overdoing it? I don't know if that's someone who's going, 3 days, times a day to the gym, and they're
Yeah.
not eating so much, they're not feeling their bodies. What are some things that people can look out for if they're worried about a friend that they feel like might be over exercising and over exerting themselves in the gym too?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I feel like when people start becoming more obsessive about like needing to look a certain way,
Mm.
um, if it's not, if the conversation starts to steer away from like, oh, this made me feel good, and it's more like I'm trying to get certain results. I'm trying to look a certain type of way. Oh, I can't eat that because I need to lose this much weight. If it becomes unrealistic a little bit, I've seen that where people are like, I mean, I need to cut 20 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm like, that's not healthy.
Right.
Now we're getting off track. And now it's making me question what exactly are you trying to get out of this? Like, what is the end goal? And if the end goal is anything outside of wanting to become a better you know what I mean? Then that's when I start to question, like, okay, is it just because you want to look skinny? Is it like, let's get to the bottom of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And so I think that's what people really have to look out for. It's like, okay, if the conversation starts steering away from really wanting to feel your body and look at your body as the temple that it is, right? You really are taking care of you. I think that's when you can really start to sit down and be like, okay, so what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, why are you trying to go to the gym 5 to 6 times a week? You're not resting. This is not beneficial to you. Now you're not taking care of yourself because your body doesn't have what it needs to actually be able to get through these workouts. Like, you're breaking yourself down. So it starts to go from you're actually trying to take care of your temple and like nourish it and take care of this thing that we only get one of, to like you're obsessing on how it looks. And I think that's when you really start to have to like sit down. Like, don't start obsessing about, I need my body to look a certain way within a given period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the scale with that too?
Yeah, let's
Because
talk
when you
about
talk
it.
about end goals, I think a lot of women starting their journey off, they measure their success by the number on the scale.
Yeah.
And a lot of time when you're working out in the gym, there's
Yeah.
so many other measures that you should be looking at. Maybe you shaved off an hour. You shaved off a minute on your mile time. Your muscles are
Exactly.
looking more toned, but you come back to the scale and maybe it's even a little bit bigger because you're building muscle. And so many women get in their heads, they're like, oh, I was trying to lose weight though. Can
Yeah.
we talk about why women measure success with that number and how we can start to move away from measuring success within the gym based on the number that's on the scale? Because I
Yeah.
definitely have done that in the past too. And then I'm like, but I'm not necessarily healthy right now just because I'm losing weight at all.
Exactly. And I like that you brought up there's other metrics, there's other ways of measuring how you're growing within your fitness journey. I think for the longest time, the scale has just always been the main thing that society talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have so many people who will judge you like, "Oh my god, you're 150." It's like, "Yeah, I'm 150 of muscle."
Right.
Okay.
You see this?
Like, let's not get too crazy. But yeah, I think that's what it is. It's like being able to really educate yourself. Again, the curiosity, like, start to lean into that. Just because you're 150, like, don't pay attention to those numbers. I think a good way to really start measuring your success is like, okay, I was at 15 pounds last week, and now I'm able to do this many reps with this much weight. I think we're looking at the wrong numbers.
Yes.
We're looking at the wrong
I love
numbers.
that. I
I think
love
you should
that.
start measuring your success or with fitness, your growth, your progress in other areas. It's not about the scale. Because believe it or not, like the older we get, we as women, we do start to put on, we carry more weight as we get older. So
Yep.
it's like, I don't want people to get so hunkered down on that because you could be, like you said, you might be 2, 3 pounds not heavier, but you might have put on 2 to 3 pounds of muscle and you are killing it with your run time or like how much weight you're now squatting. So I think that's really what it is. It's like we're looking at the wrong numbers. I think we should start looking at the numbers that actually do matter towards how you're progressing within your fitness space, within your fitness journey. So that's what it comes down to.
I love that. We're
Yeah.
looking at the wrong numbers. I'm going to
Yeah.
tagline that
No.
everywhere for that because that's
Okay.
important. I
Yeah.
was reading this article and it was saying women look at exercise and nutrition in terms of slimming down more often and dieting, and then
Yeah.
men look at exercise and nutrition more in terms of fitness and getting fit. So
Yeah.
I think, like you said, overall progress and looking at the different numbers and how you've improved in the gym is ultimately going to be way more important
Yeah.
than losing a couple pounds on the scale too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to get into the gym and gym anxiety because obviously
Okay.
this person mentioned that a
Yeah.
big reason that they're anxious is because they're going to the gym and they're beginner and they don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
Have you experienced gym anxiety? And what
Yeah.
advice would you have for someone who's looking for a gym and wants to get in the gym, but they're nervous about getting out of their comfort zone
Mhm.
and, signing up for a gym, paying monthly and being around people that they don't know when they're trying all these new exercises? Let's dive into gym anxiety a little bit
Yeah.
because I definitely have felt that.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I definitely experienced gym anxiety when I first started going into the gym. I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm just so small and I'm trying to use these weights and everybody's looking at me. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna look right at the camera. Nobody is paying attention to you in that way. I feel like the gym is one place that you will go and everybody is trying to make themselves better.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it is a healthy community. If anything, like people are in there, they want to help you. I think another thing to keep in mind is when people want to come over and help you with your form, you have to be able to have that open mind of like, okay, people want to help me. It's not because they're making fun of me, it's because they want to see me improve. Right. And so I get having gym anxiety, but I think also just understanding like everybody who's in this space is working towards a goal just as you may be working towards your own fitness goal. There everybody is in there is working towards their own personal goal. I don't care how fit they may look to you, they have their own goals that they're working on,
Yep.
right? And so they're all in their own zone. But I hope that that's one thing that I could like make clear to you is that the gym is such a positive community. Of course you're going to have your outliers, but that comes few, far, and in between. That you have people who have bad intentions. Most people want to help you
I love that.
in that space. So yeah, don't feel scared. I feel like sometimes we give people too much credit. Like just go in there. Stay focused on what you want to do, and you'll start to realize as you're consistent, you start to create a community within the space that you're going to. So just I don't know, lean into the fear and then see that the people that you're surrounded by in the gym, they'll start to uplift you too. So yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that's good because I think so many people are afraid to even ask for help
Yeah.
in the gym. But like you said, so many people are worried about themselves. And most people, 9 times out of 10, as long as you're not interrupting them in the middle of a rep or something,
Yeah.
are going to be open to showing you how to do an exercise or use a machine. So I think
Yeah.
that's really, really good advice. Are there any red flags that people should be looking out for when they're trying to search for their new gym? I don't know if that's like a hygiene thing, if you're noticing mats are everywhere, or if the staff is rude, or
Yes.
if people you're noticing that are maybe not the nicest when you're walking around. What are some things people
Yes.
can look out for in terms of red flags
Yeah.
when trying to find that new gym as their new home for however long they want to work out?
Yeah, I mean, cleanliness is definitely one thing. You
Yep.
want to make sure that the space that you're in, they're doing a good job keeping that up. I will also say, we're definitely in a day and time where like everybody wants to be trendy and exclusive and they'll try to get you to spend $300 on a membership. I feel like beware of that. if they're trying to sell you a membership and they know, and you get to sit down and talk to them, right? How frequently are you working out? Like, if they're just trying to sell you just so you can have a membership and you haven't gotten to the space where you're consistent, don't lean into just falling victim to paying these high prices for a gym membership. I really do think that there's other gyms that you will get the same amount of access to equipment. They have all the benefits that you can go and lean into. So definitely be on the lookout for what they offer and understand yourself too, because I feel like a lot of people will try to sell you on the fact that, oh, it's so nice, it looks so nice. But really, what do you need? You need to be looking for the type of equipment. You need to be looking for if they keep their gym up. You need to be looking for if the staff are kind, if they do have trainers, how
Mm.
educated are the trainers, how serious are they certified? Are they certified? Not
Heavy on that.
hello, not just coming out of being a football player a couple years ago. They need to have a certification. Okay, so look for those type of things. You want a very nice professional space. You don't want to have to pay an arm and a leg for it. You don't need to do that. You want a clean space. You want a space that has, nice equipment that's up to date. You don't want the equipment to be falling apart. So those are all things that I think that I would definitely lean into, but heavy on the personal trainers, because a lot of gyms they offer personal trainers, especially if you're trying to, learn a little bit about like where you can get started, and you want to make sure that whatever the gym that you decide to go to, that the trainers are kind, they're nice, they're attentive, and they know what they're talking about.
I love that.
Yeah.
Heavy on the certification. Remember
Heavy on the
that, y'all. And
certification.
I think it's good. And you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
too, so many ways that people can get active if they can't afford a gym. So,
Yeah.
social media, doing at home workouts. I think, too, people think that the only way that you can get healthier and active is being in the gym, but you can go on walks, you can do a free dance class in your area, you can
Yeah.
go hiking. So, really finding the things that's gonna help you can stay consistent. Maybe
Hmm.
you're someone that's like, if I'm in a gym, I'm not gonna stay consistent. But
Yeah.
if I do a hike twice a week with my friend, that helps me. So
Yep.
finding things for that.
Yeah.
My last question for you
Okay.
is for
Oh.
someone. I know,
Oh,
I'm
it's
so
coming to an
sad.
end. This is such a good conversation.
I know. But my last question for you is I think sometimes when people begin to lose weight and their friends are supportive of that, it's very easy for them to comment on their weight in
Mm,
little sayings like, oh my God, you look amazing. Kind of forgetting that maybe that person
yeah.
doesn't necessarily want comments of what their body looked like beforehand or making, and obviously you're trying to show support for your friend in that
Yeah, for
sense, but
sure.
at the same time you're making a comment about what that person looked beforehand almost in a negative manner. How can people be supportive of their friends journeys without necessarily making comments like that
Yeah.
that might make them feel a certain type of way of, okay, I didn't even think I looked bad beforehand, I'm just doing this
Right.
for me, and now you're
Right.
saying I look amazing, I thought I always look good.
Yeah.
How can people be supportive without offending their friend in terms of commenting about their weight, for example, especially with women?
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back. I try, it's not all about the aesthetic. I mean, I do get the fact that that's the first thing that you see, but like you can comment somebody on their discipline. It's like, girl, you are motivating me to want to get up and go after what it is that I want to go after, because I see how committed you are within this journey, within this space. You even start to see the transformation of people who are being consistent in the gym, just their whole mentality. Comment on how they're showing up for themselves, showing up in different spaces. You just start to see how the gym impacts different areas in that person's life. And so it doesn't always have to be about how they look. I mean, yeah, they look good, but it's like you could compliment on that. I think to your point, just be very mindful of how you're approaching it. Not making them feel like, oh girl, you wasn't it before, now you her now. It's like, no, you've always been her. I'm seeing how you're showing up for yourself in this
Mm.
way and how it's coming. I'm seeing the full picture. It's coming into fruition because I see how you're showing up for yourself. But yeah, there's so many other ways to compliment and let somebody know that you see them, and how their whole mind has shifted and how they have just changed their whole aura. So yeah, I think that is one way of complimenting somebody and letting them know like you're showing up for yourself and it's motivating me to show up for myself.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
I love the point of like the
Yeah.
discipline. That's so dope.
Yeah.
Last words of advice from you today. I'm sorry to
Oh
be ending. Last words of
man.
wisdom that you want to share with this person who's ready to get on their fitness journey and having a little of anxiety about it. What would you like to say to them and everyone else listening in that's ready to get started on their fitness journey today?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say, like, just show up for yourself because nobody can push you to show up for yourself more than you can. Like, I don't care if you get a personal trainer. At the end of the day, you have to know why you're doing it. You have to understand what it is that I want to change. There's obviously a reason that you've even gotten to this point of asking yourself of like, okay, now I'm interested to start getting started in my fitness journey, right? So like really lean into what it is you want to change.
Mm.
What's happening? Why are you at this moment right now? And then lean into that. But at the end of the day, I think that the biggest advice is just show up for yourself. Nobody can make the change and the time is going to pass anyways. So you might as well go ahead and get
Mm.
started today. So
That
yeah.
was beautiful. Girl, you need to write a
Yeah.
book or something, please.
One day.
She's like, it's on the list. It's on
One
the list.
day. One day.
Alicia, thank you so much for being here. This was
Thank
awesome. I wish
you.
we had more time. We'll need
I
to like
know.
connect in a whole other
I
episode for
know,
things.
yeah.
But please let the people know where to find you, where to find your your coaching, your brand, your fitness, your
Yes.
actively brand, everything, your social media. Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, so feel free to follow me on all platforms. It's Live Actively. That's Live. Actively is spelled Activeli. I have programs that are coming out soon. I have a YouTube channel where you get to see my everyday life when it comes to career and just balancing, my life within the gym. And then on TikTok, follow me there. I like to yap, obviously. I like to talk. So you definitely get to hear a little bit more of like my thoughts when it comes to fitness and just being disciplined and just having that level of ambition that you need to like go after it, what it is that you want to go after. So yeah, follow me on Live
Yeah,
Actively on
yeah.
all platforms.
Y'all better go follow
Yeah,
her.
y'all better follow
Thank
me.
you so much for being here. I love today's
Thank
episode.
you
And as
for
always,
having
if you
me.
guys want to, look at more fun episodes like we had with Alicia today, head to my Instagram or my TikTok at Unlicensed Advice. We're on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. And if you want to see fun clips, head to those social media platforms. So head to that link in bio. And of course, if you want your story to be featured in this or next season of Unlicensed, head to that link in bio Google form, fill it out, and we will get a special guest like Alicia to help offer you guys advice. But I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.